Shabbat Shalom. On this Shabbat, Beshalach. On this Shabbat that we sing our own song, as Dee reminds us, that Reb Shefa Gold reminds us, to sing our soul song, which is unique to us. Shabbat Beshalach is a traditional day for synagogues to have a special Shabbos of song. Well, yeah, for us, every Shabbos is a special Shabbos of song. So let's continue in that tradition. So much going on. Yetziat Mitzrayim, the leaving, the exiting from Egypt. And then, of course, the crossing of the sea, followed by, soon after, some complaints about food to eat, which is understandable. We're in the desert. But let's take a look at part of our Parsha. Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh said to Moses, "Tell the Israelites to turn back and encamp before Pi Hahirot, between Migdal and the sea, before Baal Tzafon. You shall encamp facing it by the sea." What's going on here is that the Israelites are headed one way, and then Hashem tells Moshe to tell them to go another way. They were headed the short way, and God tells us to go the long way. One of the classic commentary here is that God is worried that if we go the short way, we're going to face the Philistines, who are a war-making people, and we will have to fight our way through, and we are not ready for that. Pharaoh will say of the Israelites, they are astray in the land, the wilderness is closed in on them. This is God speaking to Moshe. This is what's going to happen, God says, when you turn directions. Then I will stiffen Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them, that I may gain glory through Pharaoh and all of his host. Yes, even God has a PR complex and wants to come out good in the end. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. Vayasu chen. And they did so. When the king of Egypt was told that the people had fled, Pharaoh and his courtiers had a change of heart about the people and said, Mazot asinu. What is this that we have done? I'm sure many of us have had that feeling at one time of our lives as well. What were we thinking? Releasing Israel from our service. Mazot asinu. Ah, the king of Egypt, the Pharaoh. And this, my friends, is what now happens. He ordered his chariot and took his force with him. He took 600 of his picked chariots, and the rest of the chariots of Egypt, with officers in all of them. And Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh stiffened the heart of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, Melech Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh gave chase to the Israelites. Yotzim beyad ramah. As Pharaoh drew near, the Israelites caught sight of the Egyptians advancing upon them. Frightened, the Israelites cried out to Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh! Vayomru el Moshe! And they said to Moshe, was it for want of graves in Egypt that you brought us to die in the wilderness? What have you done to us, taking us out of Egypt? You probably didn't say it like that exactly, but is this not the very thing we told you in Egypt, saying, let us be, we will serve the Egyptians, for it is better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness. Ay, 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 ay. But Moses said to the people, have no fear, stand by and witness the deliverance which Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh will work for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you will never see again. Adonai Elechem lechem v'atem tacharishun. Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh will battle for you. Hold your peace Your peace! Whew. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, Ma titzchak elai. Then Yud Hey Vav Hey said to Moshe, why do you cry out to me? What's going on here? The Israelites are crying out. Moshe's standing by the sea. He has his hands up. He has his staff up. Nobody is moving. Tell the Israelites to go forward. For those of us children of the 60s, remember, move your doop doop and your mind will follow. Tell the Israelites to go forward. I'm sure, of course, I know I have been stuck places in my life. And my first reaction is always, everything will be okay. I just need to panic first. Do you know anybody like that? Perhaps, yeah, Alana, you're shaking your head. Perhaps all of us have been in this situation. We're facing a choice, perhaps more than one choice, and our first reaction is to freeze. Actually, there are 4 different choices, I think, here. To go right, to go left, to go straight ahead, or to stay right where we're the place we're familiar with because it's comfortable. It's the place we know. It's the place that we have been standing for a long time. And we can't move forward because we are frozen with uncertainty and with fear. 4 choices. As Pharaoh drew near, the Israelites caught sight of the Egyptians advancing upon them. Frightened, the Israelites cried out to Yud Hey Vav Hey. This is Ezekiel Niguna, my friends. I discovered him this week, and he has some interesting things to say about this moment. He teaches that the parting of the Red Sea contained a powerful message about facing and overcoming fear. Faith in Moses and God, coupled with action, is the antidote to fear. Does it not sound like Richard Rohr's RX for us in his Center for Contemplation and Action? The Israelites overcame their paralyzing dread by confronting it rather than heeding its faulty guidance. Don't listen to that Yetzer Hara. Don't listen to that voice telling you, we've all heard that voice. Their trust in God and Moses' wisdom empowered them to take steps forward. At the very moment, fear urged them to retreat, surrender, or give up. So I ask you, do you recognize yourself in any of these patterned responses to fear? Self-sabotage, feeling unworthy, or feeling rejection. I'm not worthy, we're not worthy, or fear of being turned aside because we're not enough. Here's the antidote, lo lefachad klal. This might sound familiar. Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar ma'od. The whole world is a narrow bridge, teaches Reb Nachman of Bratslav. V'ha'ikar, the essential thing, lo. He didn't say lefachad klal. He said lo lehitpached klal. Don't make yourself fearful. These might be fearful times, but we shouldn't be making ourselves afraid. Misdirected action, anger or obsession over a past failure. Am I guilty of that, right? Thinking back into the past of things that went wrong, of things that I didn't do, of opportunities not taken, and lashing out either at you or at myself. What's the RX? Let's channel energy into progress rather than what fear dictates, taking a step forward into the unknown. Retreating into your comfort zone, as I mentioned before. Are you happy? Am I happy? Just hanging out and I'm happy who I am, and I'm a little bit nervous about taking a step forward into the unknown. Who knows what might be there waiting for me? Who knows what evil lurks in the heart of man? Have faith. Remember that God says to Moshe about the Egyptians, you'll never see them again. Move, get going. And finally, learned helplessness, passivity paralyzed in the face of the familiar. Anybody recognize yourself in this reaction? What's the RX? Reclaim your agency. Take action, and guidance will come. Maybe in the form of guidance from the Holy Blessed One, or maybe guidance from someone here in our Zumagog. Kahil Gibran has something very beautiful to teach us about fear, and fear in the face of what the Israelites are facing at this moment. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled from the peaks and the mountains, the long winding road crossing forests and villages, and Carl, in your honor, the long and winding road. And in front of her, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. There's no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to take the risk of entering the ocean, because only then will fear disappear, because that's where the river will know it's not about it's not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming the ocean. And so, my sweet friends, on this Shabbos day, may we be blessed to walk our own hero's journey, facing our fears with courage, stepping into the deep waters with faith and with action. May that be our blessing. Shabbat Shalom.